Hello and welcome to Alchemy for the 21st Century, Rebirth of Resistance. My name's Gary.
I'm Kevin.
And we're here to talk with you about 2015. But first, let's take a little look at 2014. And what we can say is 2014 appears to be a time of causes.
They're global.
Yes, we have people out in the streets and being killed globally. And what we can say is that there appears to be common themes to all this action, and there are themes around injustice, economic, and social oppression. So what we can say here is we all have something in common.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, but one has to remember is the reaction is never the solution.
Sometimes the response won't get the desired result.
Exactly, okay? So, and we could see this spilling over into 2015. And for some parts of the world, it might even be more intense. So let's look at 2015. And what we can say about 2015, it appears that 2015 is going to be an active year. And if we relate 2015 to cosmic motion, we haven't seen this much motion since 2010.
As above, so below.
Yeah, so like I say too, what we can expect here is the possibility of shocks. But it also appears that 2015 is going to be about awareness and decisions. Because what we might be seeing happening here is the further deconstruction of social reality. But let me tell you what I mean by that. Is I'm not talking about physical reality. Physical reality has laws that we all can recognize. Kevin can't walk through a wall, I can't pick up in the house, and neither one of us walk on water. But social reality isn't like that. Social reality isn't concrete. Social reality is very fluid.
It's fluid. It changes over time and has many components.
Exactly. And if we look at this, is social reality, okay, is created by the reigning structure in order to provide organization for culture. And how this all maybe works, that there is a common glue here. There's a common glue that everyone can relate to. And what we call these is the common core. And that common core is made up of reference points that one necessarily doesn't have to believe in.
A bunch of universal principles that form a cohesive understanding of how society works.
Exactly. It's things that we can agree on.
Exactly.
And agree to. And that's relatively, but we can find common ground. And what we could say that's happening here is because of the deconstruction of social reality is that the reference points are becoming irrelevant.
They're definitely becoming irrelevant.
Okay, and let's give you some examples. Okay, that the idea that there is a structure that promotes human dignity and prosperity.
It's irrelevant.
Irrelevant, okay, and that is due to its internal structure being based on laws. What we can say at one time that laws attempted to equate to justice. Small window, wasn't perfect, wasn't for everybody, but it was an attempt. But we have reached a point in time where laws no longer equate to justice. And what we see here is that they promote more so corruption. And as more corruption occurs, we begin to lose our dignity and prosperity.
Mm-hmm.
The other one would be, is the system works for you?
Irrelevant.
Irrelevant, okay? Because now what we know is that we now work for the system. Matter of fact, we're nothing more than a stratified workforce. And at one time, there was honor in that. But now we have reached a point where the roles have become so limited that people will do whatever it takes to stay in their position.
At one time, it was easier to find a job, and when you did get a job, the possibility of promotion and becoming something different existed.
Yes, and even that is now been decayed from and getting harder and harder to do. Okay, and let's look at another one here, and this would be the free market. Free market determines prices.
Irrelevant.
Irrelevant, okay, because trading is done on large-scale binary operations. Necessities are done through equations, and current prices are dependent on future expectations. And what we also too is have products in two type of classes. You have the product that promotes an image that the consumer desires. It's pricey, okay, and for Common Joe, he gets the commonality of junk.
Which means that
It's rigged.
yeah, it's a rigged game.
It's a rigged game.
It's a rigged game, and they tell you where, when, and what to buy.
Yes. Okay. So they're saying the idea of freedom here is becoming lost. And another thing that we talk about here is voting produces changes.
Irrelevant.
Very irrelevant here. And what we mean by this, okay, is that being that the structure has a predetermined plan, and all parties support the predetermined plan, and that can be found in what they agree on, okay, that voting has become nothing more than a measurement of belief or how the plan is going to be applied.
It's like a dog and pony show.
Yeah, I'll go with that. And the other one is here is that we are a world of independent nations.
Irrelevant.
It's very irrelevant, okay, because what we have now is a global system that one plugs into and one cannot unplug. And third world countries are nothing more than
Resources to be used later.
yes, to plug into later at a predetermined time. The other one we talk about here is the economy will collapse.
Irrelevant.
Irrelevant. And by the way, how's that precious metal working out for you? What we're having here is the economy is not collapsed. It is morphing and it is regenerating, and one can see that.
Oh yeah, the numbers are starting to improve.
Yeah, it's somewhat working, okay? And the other particular part that we have to talk about is that individual opinion matters.
Irrelevant.
Irrelevant, because what we have here now is because of technology, one can get their opinion verified and confirmed, okay? There's someone out there that thinks just like you. And what this has done is this created divides in us, but also it has created a antagonistic and combative attitude. And we can see this in media news where the analyst, in trying to find a solution to the problem, argue. And the goal is for my opinion to win.
It's no longer about solving solutions, it's about winning the argument.
Bingo, okay? And this furthers divides us because now it's very hard to get unity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now if we're right in this, and what is happening here is that this is becoming deconstructed, okay, there's got to be something constructed to fill that void. And what we're seeing here is a common core built on human characteristics instead of ideals.
What we mean by a common core are universal principles that you can agree on.
Yes, okay. So what we have here, okay, is these characteristics, and the ones that we see in play here is insatiable.
Uninhibited desires.
Exactly. And what this has produced is what we would call it, is it produces the lust for everything. And what this has created is a unrealistic idea of what is happiness. So we have people chasing their tails, trying to climb the rung in order to achieve happiness, and in this process they become bored with what they have and cannot find contentment. So they turn to bizarre appetites and extreme thrills.
Mm-hmm.
The next one we talk about is selfishness or egocentricity or whatever one wants to call this. It is all about me, but it's also an addition. It's all about me and what I have accumulated. Okay, now we have a false idea of self-worth. The self-worth becomes measured by how much stuff I have. So if I have more materialism, I am more important than you, and I deserve more life than you, even at your cost.
And sometimes it's designed such that in order to be happy, you have to have more. And if you want to be happier, you have to have even more.
Yes, okay, it's a chasing the tail effect.
Mm-hmm.
The other one that we talk about is rigidity. Okay, and rigidity for us means the inability to change or evolve. Okay, and what it has produced is a attitude of you're either for me or against me.
And if you're not for me, I must destroy you.
Yes, and what happens here, okay, in this attitude, instead of trying to understand the other man's side or the other culture's experiences, okay, we become a judge, and then we judge, condemn, and destroy. Okay, and the other one that we talk about is the inflated, self-serving ego. Okay, and what this means that this is the best. I am the best. Okay. And once that occurs, okay, it creates the attitude that it is my way or the highway.
And that fourth principle is connected to the other three.
When you put them all together, you get a big picture here. And the part here is that what you have with this attitude is you no longer need to learn anything different. Okay, there's no reason for you to influence me because your problems is you didn't follow my ways. So what we have here now is a stagnant development in human endeavors. Okay, it has to be in this narrow spectrum. Okay, now if we're right about this, okay, what we're seeing here is a common core created on humanistic characteristics instead of ideals, okay, that is governed by reward and punishment principles.
You either believe and are rewarded, or you're punished.
Bingo! So this also means too that you cannot place a person in position to change anything because in order to get to that position, they must have believed like this. So we get the same old stuff time and time again. Okay, and it's also motivated by fears and desires. So what we have here is a common core centering around basic. And basic doesn't mean that the culture is not intelligent, but what you have is intelligence focused in a very narrow goal.
And that goal is to obtain, it would be like materialism. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and like I say too, it self-supports itself. The goal is for it to self-support itself.
Exactly.
Okay, and that's what we're looking at. And if this is true, and if this is what is happening, you're going to see more conflict. Okay, this will drive more social and interpersonal conflict because if people become aware of the irrelevancies, okay, they need to make decisions.
Yes.
So it's experienced on both social and a personal level. And what we're also seeing for 2015 is that the West is going to remain relevant due to its size and muscle, but it will become mired in its fantasies of ideologies and unable to attain new potentials due to its rigidity in its academic and economic caste system. Now this is not for all the West. There are parts of the West breaking away from this, but the majority of the West follows this.
Which means it used to be that you can easily find employment, move up, and obtain some sense of dignity, but now
Dignity's involved in this, okay, and this is a big deal, okay, and that's basically what's sort of happening. You see people in the streets because that dignity is lost. But also too, what we're also seeing too for this is for the Levant. What we're seeing in the Levant is two powers rooted in one will achieve a step toward their goal of the re-identification of Mesopotamia, and this will make the land of the Hittites need to make a decision. The other particular part we're seeing here too is that we are told that this is a conflict between East and West, but this is not necessarily true at this point. What we're seeing here, what we're possibly seeing here is the hand of a third player who is very comfortable in their seat of leadership and manipulation. So what we can say here, it does not appear that the blessings of the line of Ner have happened.
Because this makes the outcome uncertain.
Exactly, the changes will happen. The outcome is definitely uncertain. Because the blessings of the line of Ner could fall to the unknown, and it will be the unknown that will utilize consciousness differently. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed our video.
Thank you.